It is difficult to go even a few months without observing organized crime's effects on the economy and daily life. Currently, the most prominent example is the wave of credit card data thefts from major retailers such as Home Depot and Target. Despite the fact that these dangers make headlines and are particularly worrisome because e-commerce is a relatively new phenomenon and businesses and customers aren't entirely sure how to protect themselves from hackers, their impact on organized crime earnings is negligible. Hello everyone, and welcome to another video. Today we'll be looking at the top richest criminal organizations in the world. Yeah, you heard it right. So let's start our video. According to a 2013 Javelin Strategy and Research poll, the total annual damage to Americans due to identity theft was approximately $20 billion. The majority of these expenditures, however, stem from the attempts to prevent identity theft or recover from its impacts rather than from the proceeds of identity theft. Compare this to estimates of pure money from other forms of organized crime, such as the drug trade and human trafficking. According to the Organization of American States, the annual revenue from cocaine sales in the United States has reached $34 billion. Even though criminals are continuously looking for new methods to earn a buck, it is evident that the majority of organized crime's profits still originate from its heritage enterprises when the markets for other illegal narcotics and revenue-generating activities such as human trafficking and extortion are included. So, who are the largest international organized crime syndicates and how do they make money? Well, organized crime profits are notoriously difficult to assess, as criminals spend a considerable amount of time concealing their earnings. Additionally, organized crime is an ill-defined concept. The coherence of organized crime organizations around the world varies from a large drug smuggling ring to a small bunch of auto thieves. Some groups, such as Japan's Yakuza, are highly organized and hierarchical, allowing economists and crime fighters in Japan to assign far bigger revenue totals to Yakuza groups than to other global groupings. Here's a ranking of the top 5 richest criminal organizations based on their estimated revenue. Number 1. Sointsevskaya Bratva, revenue $8.5 billion. Russian mafia gangs are on the other end of the organizational range from the Yakuza. Professor of Criminology at the University of Oxford and expert on international organized crime, Federico Varese, asserts that their organization is very dispersed. The group consists of 10 distinct, quasi-autonomous brigades that act independently of one another. The club does, however, pool its resources, and the money is managed by a 12-person council that meets regularly in different areas of the world, often disguising their gatherings as joyful events, according to Varese. It is reported that the group has over 9,000 members and that drug trafficking and human smuggling are its primary sources of income. Russia uses over 12% of the world's heroin despite comprising only 0.5% of the global population. Number 2. Yamaguchi Gumi, revenue $6.6 billion. The Yamaguchi Gumi is the largest known gang in the world. It is one of the numerous gangs commonly referred to in Japan as Yakuza, which is approximately equal to the American term mafia. According to Japan's former national police chief, Hiromitsu Suganuma, the Yamaguchi Gumi make more money through drug trafficking than any other source. Next in line are gambling and extortion, followed closely by conflict settlement. According to Dennis McCarthy, author of An Economic History of Organized Crime, Yakuza gangs are among the most centralized in the world. The Yakuza extend back hundreds of years, in contrast to other East Asian gangs such as the Chinese Triads, which are a loose conglomeration of criminals held together primarily by familial ties. The Yakuza are held together by complex hierarchies, and, once initiated, the members are required to subvert all of their allegiances in favor of the Yakuza. Even though the Japanese government has been clamping down on Yakuza in recent years, this gang centralized structure has made it easier to assign a vast amount of revenue to them. Number 3. Camorra, revenue $4.9 billion. In recent decades, law enforcement has significantly damaged the Italian-American mafia, whereas the Italian mafia in Italy is still thriving. Local governments in Italy remain linked to and protective of various mafia groups, to the extent that a 2013 study from Università Cattolica and the Joint Research Center on Transnational Crime estimated that mafia activities generate $33 billion in revenue, most of which is shared by Italy's 4 largest mafia gangs. Camorra is the most profitable of these organizations, bringing in an estimated $4.9 billion a year through sexual exploitation, guns trafficking, drugs, counterfeiting, gambling, usury, and extortion. According to the research, Camorra has been operating for a very long time. The group's origins extend back to the 19th century when it was created as a prison gang in Naples. As members were released, the group prospered during the deadly political upheavals of the 1800s in Italy by providing protection services and serving as a political organization force among the impoverished. Number 4. 'Ndrangheta, revenue $4.5 billion. The 'Ndrangheta, based in the Italian region of Calabria, is the country's second largest mafia organization by revenue. While it engages in many of the same illegal operations as the Camorra, 'Ndrangheta has distinguished itself by establishing international relationships with South American cocaine dealers and by controlling a significant portion of the transatlantic drug market that supplies Europe. Additionally, it has expanded its operations in the United States and assisted the Gambino and Bonanno crime families in New York. In February, Italian and American authorities detained and prosecuted dozens of 'Ndrangheta and Gambino family members with transatlantic drug trade-related offenses. Number 5. Sinaloa cartel, revenue $3 billion. Sinaloa is the greatest drug cartel in Mexico, one of several gangs that have terrorized the Mexican public by acting as a conduit between South American producers of illegal drugs and an insatiable American market. The Office of Drug Control Policy of the White House believes that Americans spend $100 billion annually on illegal narcotics, and the RAND Corporation estimates that $6.5 billion of that amount goes to Mexican cartels, with an estimated 60% market dominance. The Sinaloa cartel generates almost $3 billion annually. Despite Sinaloa's head being detained, the cartel appears to have avoided the costly and brutal succession battles that have plagued other organizations when a leader is removed from the office. And that's all for today's video. What are your thoughts on this? Let me know in the comments section down below. I hope that you found this video interesting, and if you want to see more videos like this, please consider subscribing to my channel. See you in the following video with some more of the latest updates, and until then, stay tuned.